Are you thinking about going solar? It's a smart move, but if you're not careful, there are several things that could cost you thousands of dollars if you make the wrong choices. And in today's video, I'm going to be covering the top 10 things I think that could help save you thousands of dollars or avoid major mistakes. I'm Justin. Welcome to the Solar Pit. Let's get started. Whether you're building a system like I have here on top of my shop, or a temporary system like I have here for testing equipment out, or a system like this right here, which is a solar carport. And to give you an idea of how big this thing actually is, let me step back, put myself in frame, and just kind of stand under this. So this is a 2-car solar carport, which I did build on this channel, so you can check that out if you're interested in it. I'll have a link in the description below. But let's talk about the top 10 items that you should avoid to keep yourself from losing thousands of dollars. Number 10 is underestimating the energy consumption that you're going to use over a 12-month period. The mistake here is people tend to size a system smaller than what they actually really need to save on upfront costs. In return, you might heavily rely on grid connection to power those large devices, and in the future, make expensive updates to your system. So my recommendation here would be to analyze your 12-month consumption bill with your utility company. So you want to find out exactly how much you consumed over a 12-month period and build your system around that. Avoid building your system just with current consumption out of like a 1-month consumption. You need to take all 4 seasons into account. Number 9 is not installing batteries with your solar system and relying completely on the solar system itself to power all your major appliances when the grid goes down or when there's no sun out in the sky. So at nighttime, if you have a power outage, you're actually going to have no power to your house if you have no battery backup. Yes, it's more expensive to add those batteries up front, but it's more expensive to not add the batteries up front and then have to have an installer come back out and install the batteries. Even me doing it myself did cost a lot of extra money that I would have saved if I'd installed my batteries when I first installed my system. So the solution for that is add at least 1 battery to your system on your initial install, and you can expand that as you go, and that would save you money in the future if you do want to expand the capacity of your battery backup. Number 8 is falling for the too good to be true deals, something like free solar if you go solar now. And I see these commercials all the time, and they're really upsetting to me because it's misleading the general public, because these things are not free. They do cost money. What you need to be worrying about is your ROI. So your return on investment. How much is the system going to cost you? How much power do you consume currently over a 12-month period? Will this offset that 100%, 80%, 60%? Where's your offset at? And then do the math on that and figure out how long this system is going to take you to get a return on your investment. Someone tells you can go solar for free, close the door on them, don't even mess with them anymore. That is absolutely false. This system cost me a lot of money, and I built it myself. So don't always rely on someone knocking on your door to tell you this is the greatest opportunity to go solar and you can do it for free. I do highly recommend everybody to go solar, but I want them to be educated when they do. And if you can't build the DIY system like I did, and I try to share that with you so you can learn how to do that, but if you just absolutely can't do that and you need to rely on someone to build your system for you, there's no shame in that. Just make sure that you're getting multiple estimates from reputable installers, and even reach out to electricians that might be able to put you in contact with an installer, or even those electricians that do the install for you. Number 7 is installing your system on poor roof conditions. So if your roof is dated and it needs some type of update to it, be sure to do that before installing it on your system, and make sure the orientation is facing south. Just like everything that we have here, this is facing south, this is facing south. Although that might not be the optimal tilt, this is still producing better than this system here that's installed on the roof at a 20% tilt, because this is single-sided solar panels. These solar panels are bifacial, meaning they can produce from under the panel as well. So you would not want to install solar onto this roof. Although it's in excellent condition and it's fairly new, it's pointing in the wrong direction. So everything needs to point to the south, not to the west or to the east. Number 6 is installing a solar system without the proper permits. And I'm guilty of it because on this channel, I did build this solar wall and I engineered it for solar to go on it. That's what those panels are supposed to be setting on right now. But at this time, I cannot get a permit to install solar on that wall, even though it's engineered to hold all the wind speeds and the snow loads. Everything is correct on the wall itself. We don't have the option to install solar on this type of solar wall at this time at my jurisdiction. Although I can put it on a roof and I can do the solar carport. So be sure to get the proper permits to save yourself a lot of money. Because I can tell you from experience, it's not fun to spend that type of money and not be able to put your solar system on it after you spent a ton of money on the equipment for the solar system itself. Number 5 is choosing to go with cheaper components to build your solar system. So I'm going to talk about inverters here real quick. We have different types of inverters. We have string inverters, hybrid inverters, off-grid inverters, and then we got microinverters. I'm using microinverters on my systems here. I have hooked up mini string inverters. So a couple that come to mind that I think I would recommend for string inverters is Solark, EG4, GrowWatt. All those are kind of more budget friendly. Those last two, you can go with Hoy miles for a string inverter as well. Moving into microinverters, definitely Hoy miles that I put back on the system on my carport, and up here we used Enphase on that system there. So I used high quality products with good warranties, and these companies stand by their warranty. You could call an 800 number and reach Hoy miles in the United States. Same thing with Enphase, same thing with Solark. So you want to make sure you have a company that you can call here locally, and I call it locally in nation here in the US. And for the solar panels, I chose to go with Aptos Solar down here. That was what was going to go on my solar wall. And I chose to go with Sirius Solar over on the carport. Those have a 30-year warranty. These have a 25-year warranty, I think it is. I did install a cheaper solar panel on the roof, and I'm disappointed with it. So those I would not recommend it. I don't even want to mention their name, but they are a decent panel, but their customer service, I cannot reach them. That is something that's important to me. If I call this company here, Aptos Solar, I'm able to get a hold of someone. If I call Sirius Solar, they're out of Texas, so I'm able to reach someone and get them on the phone and talk about problems I might have. So next we'll move into the racking system. We got Iron Ridge on the roof, which is a high quality roof mount system, and Chico Solar for the carport. Both of those I would highly recommend. So make sure you're building your solar system with high quality products. Number 4 is misunderstanding your net metering agreement, or assuming that you're going to get 100% credit for every kilowatt hour that you produce at the same rate that you consume. And for me, in my situation, that is true. I have a one-to-one net metering agreement with the utility company. So for every kilowatt hour that I produce, I basically get a kilowatt hour back at the same cost. So if that is 20 cents per kilowatt, it's 20 cents per kilowatt when I send it back to the grid. But in most Western states, that is not true because they have changed those net metering agreements, and you're not receiving the same amount of money back for what you produce as what you consume. So that can cost you a lot of money if you misunderstand what net metering or how your agreement would be set up. Number 3 is treating this like a set and forget it system. And that's not what you should be doing. You should have this under a monitoring system of some sort. That's why I've chosen to go with microinverters for the number 1 reason is so I can monitor down to the individual panel level. You can do that with string inverters as well if you have optimizers hooked to this. But you want to make sure that you have a good monitoring system so you can monitor if something's going wrong. You can come out here and fix it, or you can get up on a roof and fix it as well. That's why I chose to go with Enphase as well. So be sure to be maintaining your system, cleaning the solar panels themselves, and watching for shaded areas. In my situation, I don't have any shade. So a lot of people say, why did you go with microinverters? It was basically number one reason was for monitoring and for maintenance. Number two is not planning for future development of your solar system, because you may add systems into your house that consumes more power. So you're going to need to expand the system out on your array. And that's another reason I chose to go with microinverters, because adding another solar panel of a different type is so much easier. I can use different microinverters. I can use single microinverters, dual microinverters, and quad microinverters by Hoy Miles to expand that. So I can use one microinverter for 4 different panels, and I can hook into the same string and feed it back. I'll also size my wire in my conduit to be able to handle that. So I thought for the future, if I ever wanted to expand that, then I've already got all my wiring ran, and I've got my branches hooked up to where I can add additional panels into each branch. So I plan for the future. Number one is hiring the wrong installer to install your solar system. Be sure that you're getting multiple quotes from reputable companies in your area that understand the rules from your jurisdiction. That is very, very important. You can't just go install a solar system without understanding everything that your building and zoning might require you to do and connection to the utility grid. And this comes down to being localized. So be sure to reach out to local installers and get multiple quotes for that. I did just that when I started my solar journey, and I had quotes anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000, which I did think that was ridiculous. And I decided to build it myself. And I'm so glad I did. I have learned so much from doing this during this period. But I have found installers that can install this solar system for anywhere around $18,000 to $23,000. So that gives you a good idea of what you should be paying for a solar system with a reputable company. Now that's in my area. Those prices could go up significantly depending on the part of the country that you're in. But that just gives you an idea of what it might cost you. If you DIY this yourself, you could probably do it for around $10,000 to $11,000 if you did absolutely everything by yourself. Hopefully you found value in this video. And if you did, smash the thumbs up button. Appreciate you watching to the end. Catch you in the next one.